Well, hi guys, welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka. A highly volatile session. After a subdued start, even below that 23,400 mark, we did manage to stage a very good pullback. In fact, we've shut shop in the positive zone above that 23,500 mark. It's an FNO expiry week, so there is a fair bit of volatility, and that's evident by the fact that the India VIX index has surged somewhere around 7%. It's back above that crucial level of 14. Of course, if you look at the NSE advanced decline ratio, the breadth was evenly distributed. So, an NSE advanced decline ratio was at 1:1. If you look at the sectoral movers, autos that were the biggest laggards last week emerged among the top gainers today. So, autos, FMCG, realty, these are some of the pockets that did well. On the flip side, you had sectors like PSU banks, metals, they were among the laggards, but the Nifty bank index also, was fairly iffy, although we've on the Nifty bank index, we've staged a very good comeback, 500 to 600 points off day's low. But nevertheless, after that dash that was trying to make at that 52,000 mark, it hasn't really been able to do that. We did end in the positive zone for the Nifty bank index. 51,700 is where it's at. In terms of individual movers, you have the likes of M&M, Power Grid, Shriram Finance, Grasim, Sun Pharma, these are among the gainers. On the flip side, what didn't do well was Cipla. Of course, it received 6 US FDA observations for its Goa unit. On the back of that, the stock was under pressure. IndusInd Bank, Adani Ports, Coal India, Tata Steel, even Reliance Industries was among the laggards today. Even the broader end of the markets, quite a few high flyers there. If you look at the gainers, you had holdco companies, the holding companies, quite a lot of action there. Stocks like Bombay Burma, they were gaining somewhere around 20%. Bajaj Holdings, for that matter, 20% kind of an up move coming in there. Route Mobile hit a fresh 52-week high, 15% kind of gains there. Tube Investment, even defense, and shipbuilding stocks were once again in focus. 10% kind of gains on the likes of GRSC. On the losing end, fertilizer stocks, after the mad rush that we saw last week, a couple of days of profit booking. Of course, today as well, FACT, RCF, all of these came under pressure, especially since, there was no direct call taken on the GST on fertilizers, although the matter was referred to the group of ministers. So, continues to see some bit of profit booking. MapmyIndia, that's one stock that cooled off after 2 straight days of double-digit moves. So yes, all in all, we have ended in the positive zone of day's low, but expect volatility heading into the monthly FNO expiry. But on that note, let me bring on board our guest for today. Joining me is Hemen Kapadia, KR Choksey Shares and Securities. Hemen, great to have you on the show after a long time. First of all, how have you really been approaching the market after the 4th June crash and the subsequent recovery? We hit fresh highs, but we've been moving in a 200-point range for the Nifty. If you look at the last couple of weeks, how would you really approach it?
Well, good afternoon to you, Nandita. Thank you for having me on the show. It's the pleasure. Like you said, if you see the whole last week, Nandita, we've been in a range, and frankly speaking, not very surprising. Okay, we had a V-shape, we had a perpendicular fall, and we had a corresponding perpendicular rise. So a V-shaped recovery, but keeping that in mind, if you take 21,221, which was a low posted on 4th June, Nandita, and 23,667, the high posted. So if you take the top and bottom, it's 2386. So 2,386 point recovery, so almost 2,400 points. Plus, you have an expiry week, expiry month now, a monthly expiry. And like you said, the VIX has come off from the lows, has bounced back. So everything seems to indicate that the Nifty is tired. But the positive part is it has held on. I mean, after almost 2,400 points of a yo-yo move, it's still sustaining and not going down much. I believe the undercurrent is solid, but it would be prudent to be more script specific for the time being. But yes, the Nifty could take some time, or maybe even a small dip could make it healthier. We need to digest this whole move. But if 23,400 breaks decisively, Nandita, only and only then do we see a 200-300 point downside. If that doesn't happen, the sideways consolidation continues. I think the sector to be is banks. If you look at the private sector bank index, Nandita, it's given a breakout, all-time highs. So, and if you look at the bank Nifty, relative strength. So if I were to trade the index, it would be the Bank Nifty and not the Nifty.
All right. So on the Bank Nifty in particular, HDFC Bank, how's that looking? It has been sustaining above that 1600 level, right?
HDFC Bank is a very typical, peculiar scenario. Nandita. Why typical and peculiar? Because 3 years and counting? Probably, yeah, almost 3 years and counting, Nandita. We moved in a range between 1277 to 1725, and this is a blue chip stock. So for 3 years, if the stock has done nothing, what I mean to say, if you look at the past history, the last 15-20 years, HDFC Bank and Kotak Bank have been right at the forefront of the Bank Nifty and the private sector bank. This time, Kotak Bank has done similar. 3 years done nothing. So if a stock which is a creme de la creme does nothing for so long, it's obvious it's winding up for a bigger move. I believe that the markets remain and maintain its positive sheen. I don't expect it to outperform, but if the markets remain positive and we take out 1750, this is going straight like a rocket to 2100. So very, very interesting stock, Nandita. And yes, near term we've sustained about 1670, which I think is a technical positive. We are gravitating towards 1720-25. Historically, Nandita, we have never closed above 1725 on the weekly chart ever. And when it does, I think there'll be a blazing move after that.
What about autos? Last week, that particular pocket had taken a breather. It was among the top sectoral laggards. But once again, we've seen some bit of a rebound, right? Today, quite a few of the names that were on the gainers end on the Nifty were from the auto pack. Anything that's catching your fancy, especially in the two-wheeler pack?
Oh, if you look at Nandita, something like a Bajaj Auto, okay, TVS and Bajaj Auto, they have left everyone far behind, so to speak. Hero Motocorp is playing catch up. So Bajaj Auto has been on a tear for quite some time, Nandita, and it doesn't seem to be in a mood to stop. Like you said, maybe a small cool off here and there. And once again, we've staged a smart recovery. So despite the move, it continues to look good. A fresh buy at this level, I'm not sure, but if you have a position, please hold. We are at 9745. Gradually, we are heading towards 11,000. Okay, it might not happen in a jiffy, but Bajaj Auto 1 and TVS Motor would be a close number 2. So both look good, have done well, and don't seem to show any intentions of slowing down. Yeah, a few nudges, a few things here and there, but the bigger picture remains unequivocally bullish.
Undertone, of course, is bullish where the auto pack is concerned. But how would you really look at the holding companies after today's move? Are you spotting a fresh breakout here on the likes of Bombay Burma or Bajaj Holdings, even a Maharashtra Scooters? This rally, of course, is on the back of SEBI's announcement on the framework for special call auctions that will involve no price bands for these companies. So that was, of course, announced last week, but stocks are reacting today. 20% kind of knock move on a stock like Bombay Burma. Any trade here? A fresh breakout? Should one ride the momentum?
There is one regret, Nandita. I wish I would have been holding some of these holding companies, but yes, like you said, after a 20% move, I'm not sure if it quantifies for a fresh entry, but on pure technical parameters, I believe there is further upside. Historically, many of these companies have quoted at a big discount, Nandita, for lack of liquidity or maybe inaction by the management, or maybe just, they're just holding companies. 45, 50, 60, even 70%. If globally the holding company discount is somewhere between 18 or 15 to 23, 25%, Nandita. So I think SEBI is doing a great step. This gap needs to be bridged, and price discovery is the only way to do it. But even then, I think some liquidity issues still could remain. But after seeing a 20% move, I'm not sure if the risk-reward ratio would be in your favor to enter fresh. But if you were lucky enough or sensible enough to have bought this earlier, hold on, because the quantum of volume which has happened in many of the, like you said, Bombay Burma, you look at Pilani, you look at Many of the holding companies, Bajaj Holding, Rajapalayam, all of these, the quantum of volume has happened. It means that there is serious buying going on. One would have to wait for the delivery data to come in, marking Nandita. But yes, I your holdings, please hold, because undiscovered deep discount, somewhere there had to be some corrective measure which gratefully is happening. We'll see further move, but after today's move, I'd wait a bit.
Are you spotting or are you looking at any entry points in any of these defense and shipbuilding companies? Because of course on 4th June we saw a knee-jerk reaction, but ever since then they've again they continue to rally, and there's no end to it. Are you spotting any entry points for any of these stocks, like GRSE for that matter, and Cochin Shipyard, other defense stocks like HAL, BEL? I mean, what does one really do if they have to enter now?
I am slightly flummoxed with the way they moved, Nandita, because huge order books, everything is great, but I believe percolating, by the time this percolates down to the balance sheet, it would take some time. And obviously now with this government coming back for the third term, obviously there would be focus on Atmanirbhar, exports of defense. I mean, it is maybe exports and rail, I think will be fully discovered in the next 3 to 5 years, because there's a lot more positives coming through. But like you said, the way they moved, I am not sure how to pick, what to pick. BDL is something which I sort of like, because it's simply because everything else has moved, Nandita, and BDL has remained slightly subdued. 1, 2, 3, there's a sixth. Okay, we just started this week. 5 weeks of a consolidation. So I think that is technically a bit cheaper, because it's not moved. It's not given a mad move like many of these other stocks they moved, honestly.
And talking about the fertilizer pack, of course, last week we saw a good rally coming in there, but couple of sessions of profit booking. Do you think now, this dip should be used to buy into stocks like, say, an RCF, National Fertilizer, or even Chambal Fertilizer?
Frankly speaking, Nandita, traditionally these fertilizer stocks get active once a year. That is just before the budget. Okay, we have the budget coming in, I believe, if I'm not wrong, on 22nd of July. So, but I mean, like fact or whatever the stock that you mentioned, Chambal is an FNO stock, so obviously it's going to be a bit heavy. So if Chambal moves from 333 in 3 weeks to 537, I don't remember when fertilizer stocks last gave such a move. Last 15-20 years, I don't think so. So I would say wait for sanity to prevail. Let for some laws of gravity to do their work. On a cool off, yes, some of these stocks would make sense. Some of them have real estate stories also in it. But only fertilizer, will this sustain for the longer period of time? I'm not sure. It's euphoria, it's activity, and I would be slightly reticent about getting too excited. Yes, if there is a decent correction, one would nitpick and look for value buys. But looking at the quantum of the move, it is a bit disconcerting.
Another stock I want to talk to you about is Cartrade. Of course, there was a block deal worth somewhere around 13% of stake. A Warburg Pincus entity and a Temasek entity have sold stake via block deals. The stock was down 5% or thereabouts in intraday trade, but it managed to halve its losses. Just want to understand, in the last 1 year, the stock has gained in excess of 70-75%, right? So would you advise booking profits into some of these new age tech stocks and perhaps moving into other, buzzing sectors, or would you say that, hold on or even average when you find the opportunity?
Options choice, frankly speaking, Nandita. But if you specifically, you mentioned Cartrade. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 months we're in a consolidation phase. I'm saying consolidation because we had a move from 350 to 900, and we've been correcting that move. So 8 months is a decent enough long time. It's formed a rounding bottom, which is basically a bullish formation, Nandita. So it looks positively interesting. And above 920, I think things should start looking up. And after 9 months, if the technical setup remains undisturbed, I believe there is an upside in the making. So I would be cautious because some of them might take time to sustain certain. I mean, we'll have to wait for the numbers to come in the balance sheet to really be very positive. But yes, on pure charts, I think not much to lose. Further upside might not happen immediately, but chances of it going down if the market remains positive, no. A rounding bottom is bullish. I believe about 920 things should start picking up.
Talking about MapmyIndia, last few sessions we saw double-digit up move. Today the stock came under some bit of profit, taking 5% down, but still the stock has managed to clock in a gain of somewhere around 20% or 22% over the last 5 sessions. Are the charts or is the undertone still bullish here? Should one really get into the stock on these dips?
Oh, well, yes and no. 800-point move in 3 trading sessions. Nandita, it's awesome if you're a stockholder actually for MapmyIndia. A small cool, I wouldn't say small, but a decent cool off has come in. There was a bullish gap on the daily chart, 2 actually. One has got covered up today. The second one is very deep below 2100. I'm not sure if it comes right up till there, but yes, if you, but this is slightly from a trading point of view, Nandita. Say below 2350. One would say a calculated long would make sense. Needless to say, a stop in place because the momentum, volume, and the breakout and an all-time high. Everything seems to suggest that the higher tops, higher bottom scenario has continued. A weekly turnaround and a base formation has precipitated or warranted this move. So I believe it will sustain for some more time. I'm not so gung-ho for the long term because I don't have the data to quantify and verify that. But yeah, from a medium term point of view, I believe it's not yet over. There is some steam left. So it will be a buy on decline under that.
All right, buy on declines for a MapmyIndia. But, a last couple of questions then. Adani Group of stocks, how are you really approaching them? Are you trading into these counters? Because, some of these stocks have not been able to recoup the losses that we saw on the 4th of June, right? Look at Adani Ports. It has started trading on the sensex from today. But, on the whole, the stock is down 7% since 4th June, even Adani Power for that matter. So, is there a trading opportunity here? Should one look at these Adani Group of stocks as an investment bet? How would you approach?
One, I would suggest a slightly medium-term point of view, Nandita. I would like to. Adani Ports has been a personal favorite for some time, but it has had a decent move. Adani Enterprise is something which is perplexing because a couple of times it's given a breakout, hasn't been able to sustain. But I still believe there's not much to lose. About 3350. Things should start looking up and we'd see some more technical green shoots come in. But one stock which hasn't done much, Nandita. It's been in hibernation, so to speak. Adani Energy Solutions. We've been here for almost, it's more than a year now, not almost. It's more than a year, almost 1.5 years, half year, Nandita. Done nothing. I believe this is a lull before a storm. Technically, the things don't look bad. Whenever it takes out 1250 on the weekly chart in terms of closing, Nandita, I believe this could give you a 20, if not a 30% upside. So, after almost 16, 18 months, difficult to say a pinpoint that is going to happen exactly at this point in time. But if you want to have some patience, keep a stop loss below 900. Not much to lose, and it can surprise on the upside. So this would be my dark horse pick as far as, and like I said, Adani Enterprise doesn't look bad. Not much to lose, and this can be a jack in the box.
All right. Last stock really on my list, Vodafone Idea. The stock has seen a good 30% up move in the last 3 months. Of course, it has been raising funds, via the FPO. Then you had the Industar stake sale as well. Would this stock excite you now, Vodafone Idea?
Well, they've started 5G services. So, at least if they stop losing customers like they have been losing over the last 2-3 years, I think that would be a first. On pure charts, frankly speaking, it's beginning to look good. We've underperformed majorly since 2019, Nandita, or maybe even 2018. So, it's been almost 5 years. It's done nothing of note, but this prolonged consolidation phase, I wouldn't be I won't be very, very excited, but technical parameters, the situation has improved. About 18.41, the long-term picture is improved. So fingers crossed, because the past performance has been technically disappointing, but I believe this time it's not cry wolf, it's a real thing. The risk of sounding overly optimistic, I'd say we are heading towards 23.
Okay, heading towards 23 on Vodafone Idea. But with that, Hemen, before I let you go, any stocks that you're keeping on your radar for the next couple of weeks, and what should an FNO strategy be on the index, particularly for this week since we are heading into the monthly expiry?
If I can suggest an FNO strategy for the Bank Nifty instead of the Nifty, Nandita, I'd be slightly more comfortable over there.
Okay.
One can take today's low as a stop loss if one were to go long in futures. The cash market low for the Bank Nifty today was 51,138. I would suggest keep that as a stop loss. And if you don't want to do that, you can sell the 51,000 next month put option. I believe we could be heading towards a new all-time high, and as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned, in the next 4 to 5 trading sessions. So that is one strategy you can use as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned. In terms of individual stocks, I'd like to point out something called ICICI Lombard General Insurance, Nandita. It posted a fresh all-time high today. And we have historically never sustained about the 1735 level until it gave a close last week. So the setup has now turned positive. It's formed a base, it's given a breakout. The breakout is sustaining, but it's an FNO stock, monthly expiry, so don't expect a one-way move. But all-time high consolidation, breakout, volume, it's ticking all technical boxes. So ICICI Lombard in the FNO segment can be considered for the next expiry in July. Nandita.
All right, those are the stocks, of course, being recommended by Hemen. With that, Hemen, thanks a lot for taking our time and joining in. Just want to say it's an important evening. We have a very crucial match coming up today between India and Australia, and hope rain doesn't play spoilsport there. But I think it will be a high stakes battle, especially after Australia's defeat at the hands of Afghanistan. So it will be like a do or die for Australia, so to say. So enjoy that match, and I look forward to our conversation next time as well.
Thank you for having me, Nandita. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Well, with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Closing Bell. We've ended in the positive zone. We've made a good comeback from day's low. So 23,500 on the charts. That's where we are leaving for today. But of course, come back and join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Opening Bell, where we will be talking about the trade setup as well as pointing out all the stocks that will be in focus in tomorrow's session. Have a great evening and stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates.